screen!
We can't believe that a little over 2 years ago, the finale of Amphibia, The Hardest Thing, came out on Disney Channel. Yet, even with the show being over for so long, the fandom is still as strong as ever, and for good reason too. With an amazing and powerful cast of characters put in an epic story, Amphibia is a great show for people who want powerful characters. I'm Kifinosi with Wicked Binge, and this is Amphibia Characters, Weak to Powerful. First, we have the weakest characters. Starting off, the weakest characters have to be Percy and Braddock. From their first appearance, it's clear that even though they're in the Toad Army, they aren't really the military types. They don't like danger at all and would prefer to do things they like.
This Toad's gonna follow his dream!
Even when all of Amphibia showed up at the end of the series to fight against King Andrias and Darcy, they were nowhere to be found. They didn't participate at all. So unfortunately, by our standards, that puts them at the very bottom of the list. Next, we have the entire Humans in California cast. Humphrey Westwood, Robert Otto, Molly Jo, Allie, Jess, Dr. Jan, and Terry. They're all very helpful towards Anne and the Plantars in each their own ways, a majority being through intelligence and knowledge. While they definitely played big parts in getting Anne back to Amphibia and escaping Mr. X, their significance in All In really dwindled, so unfortunately, we're gonna have to put them in the weak section. Up next is the entire town of Wartwood. We decided to put them all together because they, as a force, together, are strong and have a bunch of different skills. We see this when Sasha was able to hone in on all of their strengths and talents to create a strong army, but even before that, it was clear that each individual had different strengths. We could continue to list everything, but that would probably take up way too much time, so I can at least say that when working as a team, they were able to start a resistance against King Andrias and were strong enough to fight him and his robots. And last up for this tier are Mr. and Mrs. Bunchoi. At the beginning of Season 3, they're just regular parents, though showing their skills when working to protect the Plantars from Mr. X. But after learning about the robot Andrias sent to kill Anne and then helping her defeat it, they decide to fight by Anne and the Plantars' side. While they aren't strong at first, we learn that they trained under Mr. X when Anne went back to Amphibia and are now fluent with government weapons, which we see in All In. Like with the town of Wartwood though, while they are definitely powerful, the other characters just pack more of a punch. Now we move on to the mid-tier section. Starting off this section are Mr. X and Jenny. We're putting them together because they're a team. They require each other to get the job done. They get their power based on the fact that they're in the FBI, so not only do they have government protection, but they also have access to tons of resources. This includes not only different gadgets, which we see they have a lot of in the episodes they're in, but they also have access to calling in the troops. On top of that, Mr. X in general is very sly and sneaky, always able to track down what he's looking for. And that's just when he and Jenny are up against the protagonist's side. When they switch sides, they still show their power, helping prepare Earth for Andrias' invasion. Up next, we have Polly and Frobo. In the early seasons, Polly isn't too strong due to her size and lack of legs. However, her feisty attitude helped her get out of a lot of different situations, not to mention her love for boom shrooms. But in Season 3, when she discovers her love for mechanics, she's able to turn Frobo into a fighting machine much stronger than before, using only high school workshop tools, mind you. Not only can Frobo fight on his own with the many upgrades Polly gave him, she also created a mode where she can herself ride Frobo and use a machine gun. Now, Polly is only a baby, well, that's what she's referred to as, so being able to do all of that for her is just crazy. So imagine how powerful she would be when she's grown. Following up is Sprig. Since the beginning, he's shown to be good with a slingshot, even having the bravery to slingshot Sasha, pre-redemption, with mud in the Season 1 finale. He also blinds Grime with a rock, as well as slams him with Barrel's Warhammer in the Season 2 finale, and slings boom shrooms at Frobots in All In. Also, his entire stunt as Frogman is impressive. He's also great at working in teams, seeing him pair up with Anne and Ivy to give you an idea. He's one young frog you don't want to mess with. Next is Hop Pop, not to be confused with Hop on Pop, the book by Dr. Seuss. Now, while he doesn't do the most physical fighting, the number of things he's survived despite his old age is amazing. Not to mention his old man wisdom. However, he does have tricks up his sleeve. First of all, he ran for mayor of Wartwood, gaining favor from the town, which was enough to scare the Toads into thinking he would overthrow the Toad regime. Then he revealed himself to be the Wrecker fighting in the Bazaar Bazaar, and it's implied that he might have killed a man.
Whatever happens in the Bazaar Bazaar stays in the Bazaar Bazaar.
Despite believing he's lost his mojo, he definitely still has a fire in him. And last in this section, we have Mother Olm. She's placed here based on her wisdom and knowledge she has from her long existence. She's able to give good advice to those who need it. Her only issue is that due to her age, she's often forgetful and requires a gel to be applied to her brain for her to remember stuff. However, she is the one who knows about the prophecy and is the one who tells Anne what she must sacrifice to defeat the core. Also, not to mention, she has high status among the Olms. Finally, we have the powerful section. If you were to get on any of these characters' bad sides, you'd need luck to make it out alive. First in this section we have Leif. While we don't get to see much of her, it's her actions that practically set up almost everything that happens in the show. After seeing a prophecy of the consequences of using the Calamity box, she steals the box and runs away. She was able to escape both Andreas and Beryl, which is quite a feat. It's also revealed that she's the one who started the Plantar family, explaining how they know the Plantar hunting dance, a dance that hypnotizes other creatures. It's because Leif invented it. It's this very dance that Hop, Pop, Sprig, and Polly used to hypnotize the mind-controlled herons, the very same herons that killed Sprig and Polly's parents. Next is Beryl. Also originally friends with Andreas, their episode shows that he had successfully beaten Andreas in small ambushes multiple times, which is amazing considering the size difference. What puts him in this section though is when Andreas sends Beryl away to the outskirts to defend villages, while it isn't stated, it can be assumed that Beryl fought the creature that Sasha and Grime had to get his hammer from until he died. The fact that he fought that giant creature for probably the rest of his entire life is crazy, thus putting him here in the powerful section. Following, we have Valeriana. While her knowledge regarding the Calamity Stones and the prophecy isn't as thorough as Mother Olm's, the reason she's stronger is firstly based on how she actually is seen fighting as well. And we see this when she makes Anne fight her during the second gem trial, and she does this with only one arm too. Next is the fact that she was chosen to be the guardian of one of the Calamity Gems, meaning that someone must have seen her as important and trustworthy enough to protect this powerful jewel. Then finally, of course, she's the one who's able to tell the Calamity Trio how to hone the gems to gain their powers. Then we have Lady Olivia, a dainty character. People not familiar with the show wouldn't think she's strong at all, which is far from the truth. Even as early as the episode The Sleepover to End All Sleepovers, when pushed beyond her limits, she's able to bring down Anne, Marcy, Sprig, and Polly in a few swift chops and kicks. We also see her battling capabilities when rescuing Marcy and during the fight for Earth, where she's given a laser gun to hold off enemies alongside General Yunnan. That's just her physical strength. She's wise, and not to mention the power she has because of her status. Following, we have Captain Grime. Obviously, the fact that he's a captain shows his level of authority. He was the feared captain of the Toad Army at Frog Valley's Toad Tower, feared by both frogs and even his own army before Sasha gave a lesson on being a charmer. Very tough and always ready to go head first into danger, it makes sense how he earned the title of captain. He's also a skilled fighter, being able to use Beryl's hammer after he and Sasha get a hold of it, and he can take quite the hit too. Darcy chops off his arm during his and Sasha's battle with them, and not only does he survive, he's still able to toss Sasha her second sword while in his weakened state, which she then uses to defeat Darcy. He's one tough toad. Up next we have General Yunnan. Right when she's introduced, it's clear that she's not a character to mess with. Her, dare we say, full title, General Yunnan, Scourge of the Sand Wars, defeater of Ragnar the Wretched and youngest Newt to ever achieve the rank of general in the Great Newtopian Army, explains everything that makes her powerful, even if it's a mouthful to say. She's a beast with her gauntlets, able to cut down multiple trees in just a few seconds, and she can also use them to swing over Andrias' robots. She's stealthy when she needs to be, and being a salamander, she has the ability to climb on walls, also helping her with stealth. Her weakness would really just be her pride. Next is King Andrias. First of all, he's royalty and a literal giant. He's really good with a sword, and we see that skill in the infamous scene from True Colors. He has access to lots of technology, so he's definitely powerful in terms of offense. But what's unique is that he himself is basically a cyborg. He's lived for hundreds of years using technology to keep himself alive for that long. Even when Anne injures him during their big battle, he still survives, and then we even see him still alive as a farmer through the time skip, though definitely looking much more frail. Either way, especially before his change of heart, he was a tough enemy for Anne and the gang to deal with. Was powerful as a fighter, as well as a king. Coming up is Darcy. Technically, Darcy's just the core taking control of Marcy's body, so of course it's going to be a mix of both their traits, of which we will discuss when we get to the aforementioned Marcy. Now, while Darcy does have to get used to being in a living body at first, once they get used to the hang of it, they're ruthless. With a scythe as their main weapon, they're quite the match for fighting Sasha and Grime. Plus, since the core has access to Marcy's memories, Darcy uses that to their advantage. However, despite this power, Darcy's defeated by Sasha just cutting the wire that connected the core to Marcy. Next up is Marcy. The smartest out of the Calamity Trio, a lot of her power comes from her intelligence. Not to mention that during her time in Newtopia, despite being the clumsiest of the Calamity Trio, she became a ranger where she fought giant beasts, lived and fought on a warship alongside General Yunnan, and outsmarted a cult. And that's just fighting-wise. Before Andrias' reveal, he made her his advisor, giving her high status in Newtopia. She achieved all that in only 3 months. She's unfortunately MIA during the rebellion due to being controlled by the core, but had she not been, she would have kicked butt, as we see during Lady Olivia and General Yunnan's attempt to rescue her, and when she gained Calamity powers to fight the Moon Core. Just missing out on the top 3 is Sasha. She's a born leader. She was able to work with Grime to improve the Toad army and was able to train a resistance against King Andreas in Wartwood. She's easily able to recognize characters' strengths and weaknesses, which she then uses to her and her team's advantage. Her fighting skills are just as powerful, not to mention she can dual wield swords. She was even able to lift Barrel's Warhammer. Granted, it was with some help from the Calamity powers, but her sheer determination was also a big help. Finally, the amount of hits she can take is crazy. Darcy slashes her back in the middle of their fight after trying to use her insecurities against her, and while it took her down for a second, Sasha got right back up and continued to fight and then defeat Darcy. The bronze medal of power has to go to Core and Aldrich. We're putting these two together because Aldri is a part of the Core and seems to be the main one who communicates the most with Andreas. The Core is a machine filled with the souls/minds of all of Amphibia's past kings, immortalizing them to continue the process of traveling worlds to destroy for resources. They're also very good at manipulation. When Marcy becomes its vessel, they not only take control of her body, but they also look into her memories and use them to predict how Marcy's friends would try and rescue her. We already discussed the Core's strength in regards to Darcy earlier, so we'll skip that. That ends with them being able to take over an entire moon and hurl it towards Amphibia, and it can only be stopped with the use of the Calamity Stones. The silver medal of power goes to the main protagonist herself, Anne. Her power comes from her growth, going from a lazy follower to someone who gains a purpose to fight for those she loves. She learns to fight with a sword and is able to later temporarily hone her calamity powers when so needed. She's also a great leader, being able to bring folks together by helping people along the way, and then when she needs help, they're there for her, especially during the invasion. And let's not forget that once she dies, she's basically going to become the next guardian to watch over all dimensions. She's powerful because she learns from her mistakes and uses them to become a stronger person. Finally, the gold medal of power has to go to the Watcher, also called the Guardian. They are a godlike entity who basically controls and watches over different realities/universes. The Watcher is the one who created the Calamity Box and the Calamity Stones as a test to see what mortals would do with unlimited power, which failed horribly. They also have the trope that they have to take a different form because their true form is too much for mortals to handle, that thing.
My true form would make your human brain explode.
They discuss having been watching the universe for, quote, a very long time, and how Anne is the first in 10,000 years to use the stones for good. They also have the power to clone Anne's body with her memories before she dies, which is incredible. Then there's the fact that they're immortal and omnipotent, which more than earns them the gold medal of power.